My daughter is Heather Nicole, and she's 43 years old. On June the 10th, she was found in this area she was naked and unresponsive and couldn't breathe. And I'm here because some nice men over here at the Discount Tire had called and 911, and I just wanted them to know I was grateful for that. I got to have 5 days with her before she passed away on June the 15th. But this had become her life. And prior to this, her life was being head of security of Sears in Laredo, of the Loss Prevention Department. And she was working on a degree for criminal justice. She had her sobriety from when she was much younger, for about 15 years. She got injured on the job, had back surgery, and was prescribed Oxycontin and halocodoone. And so it was a very fast spiral from there. And she ended up here in a very abusive situation. And she was beaten pretty regularly, is my understanding, and it's just heartbreaking, this whole thing.
Heather started her addiction when she was a teenager?
She started when she was, I believe, 17 or 18, and it started with smoking pot with John, which ended up being her husband, and that was her first marriage. And Jacob's her son. She has one son, and that was his father, or is his father. But they both had a severe addiction, and that's how it started. She just started. She was a crack addict for many years, and then she got clean and straightened up and stayed that way for a very long. Like I said, I'm just heartbroken. I had seen her on April the 6th. We tried to get her in a methadone clinic. That didn't work at the moment, and I packed her backpack, and so I was just sort of knowing where my baby was kind of conscious in the last minute. But this is where she stayed, and I do know how you get here intellectually, but it's a very hard thing to understand, and there's a lot of healing. I'm grateful that I had 5 days with her, because everything melted away, and she was completely paralyzed. She couldn't move. She could barely talk. Her muscles had completely, I don't know.
So yeah, she had rhabdomyolytis.
Right.
And that's a really good point, because she wasn't necessarily overdosing. She was dying from an infection that was breaking down her muscles, and she was sepsis.
Yes.
And people think, and overdoses are skyrocketed, but they're not even counting all the other ways people die from this disease.
Yes. And so that was, she was just found here naked and sunburned. So they thought maybe she had been here for a couple of days, but I'm looking at it. I can see how, with the trees, maybe it was just a day. I don't know that it matters, except it's hard to sort of imagine. Oh my goodness.
Well,
I'm sorry. That was one of my sports bras, I think.
That was her sports bra?
This one, yes.
Oh, honey. Did you buy that for her?
When I packed her backpack on April the 6th, when she wanted to go to the hospital and get some help, she had nothing. And she asked me for one thing, which was panties. She said, "Mama, I haven't had any panties in so long. Would you mind giving me some panties?" And I packed the backpack, and I put a couple of these little bras in it,
And this is, I guess, where she slept.
This is really, really sad. Now I understand the mosquito bite. I mean, look at the water over there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
There's a whole pond. What is your message to the country about our addiction crisis and all the families affected, and to lose your daughter and to know that, you know, she was living in the woods here, you know, and I just can't even imagine. And I got to be there with you the past few days and meet her.
Yes.
And interact with who she truly is.
Yes.
And it was beautiful watching you love her. And it was beautiful watching her joke with you.
Yeah, she still had her sense of humor. The problem is something's happening psychologically with our families, with our kids. It goes beyond that. It's not that they take the drugs, it's why are they taking the drugs? And if we don't reach for the answers to that, it doesn't matter. You could put drugs on a shelf for me that I could buy anytime I want, and I don't want it. It's not something I want to do. So we have to find what's happening within the very core of our families, of our society. What are we doing that is bringing ourselves and our children and our grandchildren to the place of where they feel the need to not feel? What are we doing? I don't have the answer for it, but I just know that I just don't feel that it's like I was really mad at the guy that was with her because I wanted to blame him. And I was really fussing about it one day, and my husband, I was telling him what I could do to find him or do this or do that to help her with the situation. And my husband said, he's not the problem. And it really hit me. He's not the problem. The drugs are part of the symptoms. It's what they're taking. But we got to go deeper than that. We're not going to fix it you can't get the drugs off the street. We've got to find out what can we do for them not to want them. Why do they want them?
They are promoting them.
Of course they are.
There is. I mean, we have the addiction for profit industry with the alcohol industry and tobacco. Now we've got the marijuana, and now they just want to add to it. So there's
it's a money game.
Yeah, there's a shift in culture.
Yeah.
And because your daughter developed that disease as a teenager, it was very easy for her to slip. And then with the powerful opioids she was prescribed, it just was something her brain could not handle. And it was, you know, I agree with everything you're saying, but it is, the drugs changed your daughter. Oh,
the drugs, you realize at some point you're not dealing with your child, you're dealing with this invisible, like, dark entity that you can't get a hold of. You can't just exercise it out of them. You can't do any of that. And it's so powerful, and it's just so scary because it's invisible. And it comes maybe in the form of a drug, but what's happening and what you start dealing with, because I'm not dealing with the physical drug of itself, I'm dealing with the effects of the drug. And the effects of that drug is not my daughter. That was not my loving, happy-go-lucky, sweet daughter that, you know, was just kind and wonderful and smart, intelligent. And that's the other thing. These drugs have nothing to do with intelligence, being smart or otherwise. Nothing. But we just have to find out how we're going to get there, how we're going to stop it. I don't have my baby girl anymore, but I hope somewhere, you know. The thing is, they all know they're going to die. And we think, well, if you tell them that so-and-so died or this friend died or whatever, maybe it will shock them into it. But I call it that point of no return, where they get someplace, somewhere in their brain. It doesn't matter what you say, what you do. And I really believe that the shame kills them. The drug caused it, but this shame is what really finally takes their life, because they're just so ashamed.
To ask for help?
Ask for help, to let their family see them, to let anybody who ever once knew them her friend, who was her friend since she was 8 years old, was driving up and down these streets because she lives out in this area. She pulled up to a stoplight and saw Heather for the first time in many years, but she recognized her even though she had lost about 80 pounds. And she called me and she was just heart sick. She said, I ducked my head so I was hoping she wouldn't see me because I was so embarrassed for her that she was standing there with a paper cardboard sign saying homeless, asking for money. This was my friend that went through school with me, that, you know, we had our kids and everything, and here she is. And he said, I didn't want her to see me seeing her because she would be so embarrassed.